Okay, this particular section is technically the last new section, but it's not new. So the way that I've been teaching you factoring throughout the chapter is different than the way that the book was teaching factoring. So I don't like the way the textbook sets up factoring to try to teach it to you. So I like to try to teach it like the method that I had been doing. So this particular section, we've already done. I just basically want to show you the types of problems that are in this section and show you how they're different or considered special. You know, we'll put that in quotes, special. So we've already actually learned all of these. So there's actually nothing new to learn. And I don't want it to come off as me trying to say that factoring is easy. Okay. This is traditionally the toughest chapter of the year for most Algebra 1 students. Because factoring, there's so many different little things to look at and figure out for factoring that it definitely can be tough. So don't think I'm trying to tell you this should be easy. But for this particular section, we've already learned how to do them. So I'll put up some of the problems and we'll talk about why they're considered special. So let's say you are given directions to factor x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay. Austin, I think you were gone yesterday, if I remember right. So this might be a good review for yesterday, even if you had a chance. Austin, how would I go about trying to factor this one? All right. That's fine. Do you know how to answer the question? Like, is it something you could type in the chat? Okay, that's all right. So this is what we did yesterday, basically. Yesterday we went through how to determine which type of problem it was to factor. So definitely, if you haven't had a chance to watch the video from yesterday, I think that would probably be very helpful for you. So like after today's lesson, that would probably be a good idea. Who's somebody else I haven't called on for a while? Rocio? Have I called on you for a while? I call him like half the class every day, I guess, so it does really. How about on this one? How would you go about trying to factor this one? Perfect. Okay, so what are the factors of 9? I was just going to let you take over and tell me what to write. To answer your question, though, the fact that there's a negative sign right there means we should probably look at negatives. Okay, are these the only factors? Oh, okay. Any particular pair out of here that we should use? Good. So then this can be factored into -3 and -3. So that is perfect. Jeremy, what do you notice about those two factors that I wrote? Okay, so if I have two of the same things being multiplied Do you remember how else I can write that? Good. Very good. Very good. So the fact that I'm multiplying two of the same things means I can write it as a squared. That's what makes this special. This is called a perfect trinomial square. This problem is called a perfect trinomial square because its answer is squared. And there's me with my sarcastic voice, because I think it's stupid that they made this a separate topic. I would not call it special myself. But I do want you guys to know that that is why it is considered special in this section. If you factor something and its answer can be written as squared because both factors were identical, then it's called a perfect trinomial square. No problem, Olivia. You guys can always, like, if things are screwing up, you guys absolutely always can just, like, quit the meeting and come back in and see if it goes, works better. And also don't forget, this is kind of like my experimental period here, where next week I wouldn't mind hearing feedback from you guys if you thought Zoom worked better than Meet, or if you think Meet works better than Zoom. Basically just to find out which one seems to work best for you guys, because I'll pick whichever works better for you. Does anybody have any questions on what I have up on the screen? Are you okay with knowing what a perfect trinomial square is? Let's go with Taylor. Hardest question of the day. I didn't ask it yet. I was waiting to see if you were there. Okay, excellent. Hardest question of the day. Why is something called a perfect trinomial square? Oh, Taylor. It's actually written right on the screen. Yes, I know my handwriting is not great. Something is going to be called a perfect trinomial square if its answer is squared. That's it. That was all I was trying to ask. I was being sarcastic about the hardest question, but that's only because I thought you saw the writing up there. Okay. Onward. These are technically new, but we are not going to factor them anyway new. Hattie. Is there a number on the x squared term? Oh, your sound is all messed up. That's okay. You can, I'll call in somebody else. Yeah, no worries. Your sound's all messed up. I'm wondering if Zoom is having issues today, because it's been messed up for a lot of people. Jackson, are you there? Okay. Is there a number on the x squared term? No. So how do I go about trying to factor this? What did we do on the previous problem? Previous problem there, oh, go ahead. Okay, of -9, but correct. Well, they're the same, so I don't know why I'm writing it twice. Okay. How do I know which pair to pick? Okay. Nope. Nope. That's all right. I'm putting this one up here because it's weird. Honey, how about you? Do you know which pair I should pick? Jamad, how about you? I would. That is the pair that we pick. Do you know why? What do 3 and -3 add up to? No. No, what do they add up to? If I add 3 and -3. Perfect. So, I don't have a middle term. So I don't have a middle term, which is like saying plus 0x. So that is the specific reason why you were choosing the pair that adds up to 0. So even if you're not sure why, I'm going to say good job on trying to educate and guess, because like I'm going to guess that you probably knew it wasn't the top two because there wasn't an 8 anywhere. So even if you're going with an educated guess, that's a good idea. Very good. So if you guys have a problem where the middle term is missing, it can be factored exactly the same as if you put a 0 there. So this one can be factored into x, +3 and -3. So this one's considered a special one because it's got a missing middle term. But these actually have a specific name. Okay, that turned out to be a billion times longer than I was expecting. This problem is referred to as a difference of squares, and that's because x is squared and 9 is the same as 3 squared. And the word difference means subtract. So it's called a difference of squares. I actually can teach you a different way to factor these, but I actually think it would be harder for you guys. I think you guys would be more successful if you just learned a couple different ways of factoring and were able to do it on all the questions. And that's why over the past years, I've had most students choose to just keep using the same methods they know, but then use it on all of them. So that's why this section with special factors, I didn't necessarily want to teach you any new methods because I think it makes it more difficult for you. Every question in this section can be factored. How you know. Let's put a harder one up. We need to factor this. Factor 9x squared minus 16. Okay. Ian, is there a number on the x squared term? 9. Do you remember how we factor the problems with a number on the x squared term? Okay. So I guess what I'll start with is I'll start with the fact that there's no term in the middle. So I'm going to write that as a 0x. Caleb, do you remember what we do when there's a number on the x squared term? Oh, actually, you know what? What am I doing? Make this number smaller so that there's not a billion. If I put a 16 there, we're going to have huge numbers. Caleb, do you remember what to do when there's a number on the x squared? What did we do yesterday when there's a number on the x squared? Multiply the outer two numbers. Yes, perfect. So negative 36. And then I'm going to find the factors of negative 36. And I want to find the pair that adds up to be 0. Okay, good. That's good because I didn't want to write them all down. So 6 and negative 6. And then we're going to replace the 0 with the 6 and the negative 6. Do you want to keep going? Or do you want me to call somebody else? Do you remember how to keep going, or do you want me to call on somebody else? What? Okay. Okay, how do we do? What do we keep doing then? Sure, take it over. Okay, what would that be for the left half? Good, very good. 3 goes into both, x goes into both. What goes in the parentheses? Perfect, perfect. Okay, how about the second half? Nice, nice. You definitely do know how to do this. Very good. Good. One last step. How do I write the final answer? Because we're basically at the end. Nice job, Caleb. That's very good. These are not easy. Nice job. Okay. So, go ahead. I mean, yes and no. You partially do this to figure out if you did it right or not. So I know I absolutely get what you're saying. Basically, you can use this answer to help you figure out the other side. So kind of yes. I mean that's the smart way to do it. The smart way is to kind of use that information to help you solve it. Yeah. Okay, what do we... How are we feeling about today? Probably a little bit worse. Oh, all right. So, I mean, like technically this should be exactly the same as what we've been doing the last couple days. It partially just depends on if you guys have been doing a good job of not procrastinating and kind of doing your work on the day you should do it. I'm doing my best to make sure that you guys don't have to do extra work outside of class time. So I'm hoping you guys can kind of stick to that schedule. I know it is really easy at the end of the trimester to get burnt out. So I've been doing my best to try to trim down all of the work for you and make sure that you can finish during the class hour. So if you guys can, try to dedicate yourselves to working during the class hour. And then that way you have kind of the whole rest of the day on your own. Okay, so I'm done with notes for today. I actually changed the assignment in Schoology. So originally you were supposed to do some problems out of the textbook, but the textbook questions for this were just garbage. So what I did was I just made up a really quick worksheet with, I think, 5 or 6 questions. And you're supposed to factor those 5 or 6 questions, and that's the whole assignment. So you guys have 6 questions to do, and you have 38 minutes to do it. Now, obviously it shouldn't take you 38 minutes to do those 6. But I also know a lot of you are behind. I've been looking at the homework that's been turned in, and there's a lot of you behind. So I'll be honest. I don't like having to be the person that emails your parents and says, you know, like, hey, they haven't done work for 2 whole chapters, you know, like, I don't want to be that person. You guys are basically on the verge of, you know, next year you guys get to drive on your own, which is usually a sign of independence and adultness, responsibility. So this is a good year for you to practice responsibility. I don't want to have to treat you like a younger person, you know, and having to get a hold of your parents. So I like to avoid that. So if you guys can kind of be responsible for yourself, get things done. You know, we only have until next Thursday to finish up this trimester. So, all right, I'm done for today. Thank you guys for coming. I will see you again tomorrow. Yeah, you bet, Austin. You're welcome.